Dear subject, this is London, geographical and political capital of England, and one of the business capitals of the world. The population is 7.5 million people, all perpetuating the existence of politics, education, entertainment, media, fashion, sports and art. Greater London covers 609 square miles. The inhabitants rush from place to place to establish meaning in their inane existences. Many look as if they do not know what they are doing. Those that do, they do not know why. The disorganisation and lack of meaning is rife. Will getting your reports in on time really ensure the stability of your race? All of your unnecessary behaviour is the product of the human brain, the blessing and the curse of human existence. The human brain weighs an average of 1.25 kilograms. It allows you to think, but does this prove to be the salvation or destruction of your race? You have an average of 10 individual thoughts per second. Do you really think you make use of them? It controls your basic instincts, fight or flight. You do not have fangs. Instead, you must rely on outthinking your opponent and using your hands to succeed and progress. Your hands are another feature of your physiology that apparently make you the superior race. They work in conjunction with the brain to enable you to complete many tasks impossible to us. But you humans are so extremely wasteful. This woman is Ruth Lydia Timmis. She has just spent 8 hours of her life sleeping. Why do you humans have to spend so much of your time unconscious? It is so different from the nature of our race, but I digress. Look at how she uses her hands to brush her hair. How is this helping her race? Are her hands ever really going to be used in such a way that they fulfill their potential? She brushes her teeth. Her daily routine is as meaningless and ridiculous as all of your individual routines. Look at her thrust that implement in and out of her mouth. Will this one act really allow her to have a more constructive day? Here, Ruth Lydia Timmis is walking to work. Do take note of the speed she is walking at. She seems to be walking with purpose, but what exactly can this purpose be attributed to? If she didn't turn up to work, would the earth really stop turning? No. She arrives at work, but it is not truly work she does. Instead, she sits at a desk. Her job is rooted in facts and figures. It has no real physical impact on the world. Since this is true, what is her life actually worth? Maybe her great meaning comes from outside of her job. Again, the answer is no. She returns to bed for yet another 8 hours of unproductivity. As I stated earlier, you humans are indeed wasteful creatures. Your people pack themselves together as if working for a greater good, but they are not. You travel to your destinations with your marvellous technology and return with no achievement. Think what you could do if you only maximised the potential of your manpower working together as one, a superorganism. But alas, no. You fail to recognise the possibilities and are thus doomed to failure and misery. You stand around and wait for answers from some unknown source. If only you realised what you were doing. But would you change? Would you really change, even if you knew? Your society needs workers in a ratio similar to ours. This establishes unity and organisation and avoids the trap you have so horribly entered. This man has no destination. He is meandering, like so many of your kind are guilty of. He intends to complete his day by filling his stomach, abusing his eyes by subjecting them to flashing images on a screen, poisoning his blood with alcohol, finally returning until he can next wander. This woman is no better. She is on a break from her so-called work, where she exchanges items for a currency based on fiction. To convince herself this is worthwhile, she spends the money she earns on clothes. You will have noticed a pattern, that all the examples are the same. This man is no different. What your race needs is a valid purpose. But where to find this? You would not know. You look in all the wrong places. But what of those whose lives we have not focused on? Their lives all start with birth. but even their conceptions are often as muddled as their directionless lives. Rather than the efficient creation and prescription of life we propagate, you claim life can simply come into being as a consequence of fits of passion. Up to 74% of you attribute the very existence of your own spawn to a mistake: sex. In your language, it now encapsulates the act of reproduction, as well as the beautiful binary distinctions between genders. It is such a human trait to sully sleek binary opposition with ambiguity. Your view of reproduction is so far removed from nature's you commodify and sell sex. The act of sex is now the goal itself, rather than the offspring sex results in. This confusion over the role of reproduction is a microcosm of your ambiguous nature. Communication for your species is so devoid of binary certainties, it lacks the subtle clarity found in our secretion of pheromones. Unlike our unified communication patterns, your attempts at statements end up discussed and regurgitated to the point of banality. The problem you have with communication extends into every aspect of your society. Because of a lack of understanding, your societies are secular. The secular nature of communities results only in fighting and unproductivity. On a smaller scale, this lack of a greater purpose leads to ideas of singularity. After all, as long as you are doing okay, why should you bother about anyone else? This pathetic reasoning leads to destruction on a scale my species could never comprehend. Aside from the time wasted in war and argument, your species even destroys and poisons resources to settle your squabbles. Just think of the productivity lost in such exchanges. Individuality is not a blessing, it is a curse. The lack of a unified purpose means you humans waste what potential you have on conflict and miscommunication. You distance yourself from events by sitting behind a screen. You seem to like the idea you are not a participant in the world, but instead a powerless voyeur. But this is not true. The acceleration of human conflict means that soon your race will be wiped from this earth. But we will remain. Our unity, our understanding that the self is irrelevant, is the greatest difference between our species. While the self is weak, the many are strong. Your species' stay on this earth will be short compared to ours. The question I ask is this: how short will your stay be?